A conflict can feel like a closing door. It's a clash of wills. A moment where two realities seem to slam against each other, each fighting for space to be true. The language we use for it is the language of war. We have battles, we exchange fire, we draw lines in the sand. It feels like something happening between people. But what if the real battlefield, the most important territory, isn't the space between us, but the landscape within? What if an argument isn't a fight to be won, but a reflection to be read? A moment where two mirrors are facing each other, and the heat we feel is the light of our own unexamined fears, pride and pain, reflected back and forth in an infinite, escalating loop. Think of the last significant argument, the kind that leaves a residue. In that heightened state, there's a feeling of absolute rightness. The other person's position seems not just wrong, but illogical, malicious, or blind. From our side of the mirror, our own stance feels justified, necessary, and clear. This is the nature of the reflective trap. When two people are both operating from a place of triggered emotion or defend identity, they are no longer seeing the other person. They are seeing a distorted reflection of their own unmet needs, their own past hurts, their own deepest insecurities, projected onto the other. It's like two people shouting at each other's reflections in a funhouse mirror, each convinced the grotesque image in front of them is the real person. So what is being reflected in these moments? Often it's our shadow, showing up with a vengeance. The trait in the other person that infuriates us, their stubbornness, their need to be right, their emotional withdrawal, is frequently a disowned part of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge. Their accusation against us often hits a nerve because it touches on a secret fear we already hold about ourselves. Conflict then becomes a brutal but honest spotlight on our own inner contradictions and unresolved wounds. That colleague's resistance might mirror our own unexpressed resistance to authority. That partner's criticism might reflect the critical voice we already use against ourselves, now experienced as an external attack. The conflict isn't creating this pain, it's holding up a mirror to pain that was already there, simmering beneath the surface of our consciousness. This shift, the entire goal of engagement, the aim stops being to win, to convince, to make the other person see and admit they are wrong. That approach just keeps the two mirrors angled for maximum distortion. The aim becomes to read the reflection, to use the heat of the conflict as a signal to turn inward. In the middle of the rising tension, there's a possibility, a very difficult conscience possibility, to pause and ask a question, not of the other person, but of the reaction within. What is this really touching in me? What old story is this connected to? What part of me feels so threatened that it needs to fight this hard? This isn't about conceding or becoming a doormat. It's about changing the level of the game from a battle of ego to an inquiry of the soul. When one person in conflict makes their inner turn, something alchemical can happen. It breaks the reflective loop. By taking responsibility for our own reaction, by saying, when you said that, I felt deeply threatened, and that's my work to understand. We stop feeding the energy back into the mirror. We step out of the role of combatant and into the role of witness, first to our own inner process. This doesn't guarantee the other person will do the same, but it fundamentally changes the dynamic. It moves the conflict from a bilateral power struggle to an opportunity for unilateral growth. The true resolution then doesn't necessarily happen in the middle ground between two people. It happens within the individual who decides to clean their own mirror. We can find this seed of wisdom in the old teachings about forgiveness and nonviolence. The instruction to turn the other cheek is often misinterpreted as passive submission. But what if it's a masterclass in breaking the mirror? It's a refusal to send the same violent energy back, which stops the reflection in its tracks. It's an act of saying, I will not be the mirror for your hatred. I will reflect something else. The enlightened masters taught through such paradoxical actions, knowing that breaking the cycle of reflexive action was the path to real peace. They planted the metaphor of inner resolution as the only lasting victory. So, the next time a conflict arises, the urge to fight, to be right, to defend surges up, there might be a moment to remember, this is a mirror. The anger in their eyes might be reflecting a fear in my own heart. Their defensiveness might be showing me my own hidden fragility. To read the conflict this way is to transform it from a destructive force into a diagnostic tool. It becomes a sacred, if difficult, opportunity to see ourselves with stark honesty, to reclaim a projected part of our shadow, and to choose a response that comes from a place of integration rather than fragmentation. And in that choice, we might just find the door we thought was slamming shut was actually an invitation to walk through into a more spacious, understanding, and whole version of ourselves.